When was the idea brought up to end the use of academic and athletic PE waivers in McHenry?
For the past 2 or 3 years, our physical education department had been requesting that we eliminate waivers. And what we had done is we've kind of scaled back each year the amount of waivers and the possibilities for waivers that we had been doing. And this year, it seemed like, looking at the data, there were really so few kids that were using waivers still, because our athletes are highly encouraged to continue to take strength. So a lot of our athletes don't waiver. That we really felt like, with AIM and with 0 hour and really just looking at the data, that now was the right time to go ahead.
Removal of PE waivers affected you?
Well, let's just say that I wanted to take more classes that have more credits, I guess, on my, I don't know, for colleges and stuff, just more fun classes for senior year. And because of the taking away the PE waivers, now I take gym. I really hate it. Plus, not only that, but strength really tires me out when I do cross country and track. And it only affected me in
What are your thoughts on there being no academic or athletic PE waivers available at McHenry High School now?
Stated very generally, it is a change to the system and the culture, and it's one that resonates at a different level depending on who you're talking with.
Have you had to deal with many complaints from students about the removal of these waivers?
Most of the negative feedback that I get from students or parents, it's students who are either trying to squeeze in as many highly rigorous courses as possible, and or students who are heavily involved in our fine arts programs. Students who are carrying a heavy academic load, and they're looking to have a study hall or time in the day, whereas otherwise they'd fill that study hall with the class.
Yeah. Do you know of any college or university that requires or recommends students to take a PE class in high school?
I have not run across any schools that require physical education for admission.
Do you think that it is more beneficial for students to be in a PE class, or to be in like an academic class, or taking a study hall?
For students who might have opportunities to stay physically active outside of school, and there could be an argument made along those sides. So
one is that in the last 3 to 5 years, our physical education department has really expanded all their electives. There's really an extensive amount of brain research about how important physical fitness is to how your brain functions cognitively every day. But beyond that, there's a national push and a national concern about physical fitness in general. There's a lot of schools around that don't do waivers, and we decided that now was the time to do that.
Teacher, how do you feel about getting rid of PE waivers completely for the 2016-2017 school year?
I was in favor of it. I was a big part of the group that helped try to push for that. Illinois was the only state in the Midwest to require daily PE, but it was also the only state of all those around us that probably had the least number of kids that were considered obese. We're right at the front of that in terms of one of the few states that says, if this is really important, don't cut it out so you can have an extra math class or an extra, all those are really important, but seeing that, your health and your wellness is a bigger part of your overall success as a person, not just as a academic person. The research showed us that just more time on those subjects doesn't increase the performance. So when these schools cut PE time out to do more time on math or whatever, it doesn't make them do better math. It actually, it doesn't. So just more time, the exercise does. There's plenty of research that if they do a little bit more exercise, a little bit movement, they actually do better. Sitting in a desk all day long, not doing anything, is not good for these kids, and it actually slows down growth. Activity is one of the only things that causes you to create actual new neurons and release a chemical called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, and that actually, sitting in a classroom learning doesn't do that. The only thing it does, that's activity. So if your teacher may be the best teacher in the world, but that what you're doing down there in the gym, just getting active, even that little part of the day, is going to help you learn just as much as any of that. So there's some physical benefits, there's some academic benefits, there's some overall healthy habit benefits, lifestyle. So it makes it really tough for a state to say, yeah, well, that sounds great, but we don't want to pay for it.
Have you ever used a PE waiver?
Yes.
And with its elimination next year, how is it going to affect you?
I won't be able to take a study hall next year, which is really bad because that's the only time that I have to do homework.
Okay. Have you ever used a PE waiver?
Yes, I have. I have used one last semester in my junior year.
Okay, and how is its elimination going to affect you next year?
It's going to affect me next year because without being able to use the waiver, I'm unable to take AP Chemistry, which is something that would really help me prepare myself for college, as well as just give me a better understanding of the sciences, which would help me for my major, which is going to be electrical engineering.
Okay, so let me give you some reasons of why we eliminated it going up to this point. So 0 hour basically created a workout option for kids. You could say, we're not taking something off your plate, we're giving you another option too. So if we're going to say you have to have a period during your day, your PE, and you're saying, I can't because I already have this class, we'll take it before school and you can still keep that class. But doing 0 hour helped us because when we looked at all of our kids, we found that the majority of the kids were waiving not so they could get out of PE, they were waiving so they could take more academic classes. So it was, you got great kids who really genuinely want to, they're not just saying, I hate gym, I want to get out of there. They're saying, I like it, I wish I was down there, but my schedule won't allow it. We increased the amount of our PE as GPA, so to half credit. So now it's worth more for you to be in class because it will help your GPA more. So it only affects those few juniors who had them and not, so some of you guys, that's the only one it affects, okay? And for that 1 year, most of the coaches now are saying, we want you in strength. So now you've got all those other reasons, the state, you've got everything else kind of seeming like it doesn't even make sense to have them anymore. Plus you've got coaches that are all saying, we want the kids in there, and the parents and the athletes are saying, yeah, it helps me to be in there.
I just don't think it's fair for those who actually do hard, like, I don't know how to say it, like really hard workouts after school, because then it's just double the workouts, and it can get unhealthy.
But when we looked at it with those concerns that you're raising about the academic demands, we really looked at that a couple of different ways. We have 0 hour now. Our juniors oftentimes going into their senior year takes consumers ed and government and summer school, which is a way to free up periods in your schedule. And we have the AIM period that we've never had before. And a lot of students are thinking, well, you know, maybe I don't need that study hall and like to take an extra class. So there's a lot of options. If you want to take all those classes and you want to have a study hall, maybe you have to do a 0 hour. Maybe you have to do summer school to open up a period in your schedule for that study hall.
You know, a lot of them still do have them. So this was a big step by our district to say we really value kids' health and fitness here. So that was something that we're pretty proud of. We were really proud of the support we had from administration and our board to be willing to say, we want our kids being active. We don't want to just say we are strictly a in-the-desk academic institution.
It's a state graduation requirement. It's everyone should be taking it. Again, that you sense my hesitancy in saying that because it's one that I've personally gone back and forth on a lot, especially even going back to the prior question about college admissions. If it was not a state graduation requirement, I would be 100% the other.